So let's look at this first problem that requires us to use a distributive property. And our goal is to simplify algebraic expressions using the distributive property. Level 1 would just be all positive numbers. And when we say simplify, we're basically trying to get rid of these parentheses. We're trying to release the parentheses so that there's no terms left in parentheses. So we do that by taking this number 8 outside the parentheses. It multiplies everything inside. Remember, side by side means to multiply. So that's 8 times n. Now, here's the tough part. 8 is multiplying everything inside this parentheses. And even though we don't recognize that 7 is being side by side, it's enclosed in this parentheses. So we go back to 8 and we multiply positive 7. So we're going to take 8 times 7. So now we've effectively released the parentheses. These numbers are no longer in parentheses. Obviously I see them, but that means that they're multiplying. 8 times n would be 8n. And once again, we've mentioned this before, but if it's helpful for you to put a 1 there, by all means do that. So 8 times n, or 8 times 1n, would be 8n. And then 8 times 7 is positive 56. So we're going to use that positive as our plus sign. So it is 8n plus 56. So this is the answer we're going to. And you'll notice that we've just kind of kept this plus sign. And sometimes teachers might teach this a little bit differently, and that's fine. Whatever makes sense to you. They might tell you to take 8 times n, drop down this plus sign, 8 times 7, and you're still going to get the same answer. Now, the reason I'm doing it the way that I'm doing it is when we get to negative signs or minus signs, and there, like for instance, if there's a negative 8, sometimes there's easy mistakes made. Speaking of mistakes, let's quickly look at some common errors. All right, so I've given us the original expression here, and one of the common misconceptions is that the answer would be 8n plus 7, and that is probably the most frequent common error. Sometimes people forget that you have to reach across. This 8 multiplies everything inside the parentheses. So that's a common error. The next common error is to write 8n plus 15. Sometimes students think that we're supposed to add the 8 and the plus 7. But again, side by side, when these two things are side by side, this factor and this factor are side by side, so we multiply. So that's another error that's frequent. So please now make any corrections or go on to the exit ticket.